Walorski of Indiana. She's a member of the Armed Services Committee. She joins me from her district in South Bend, Indiana. Congresswoman, let me start with two things. Number one, have you gotten any official briefing from any of the either Defense, Intelligence Committee, and so forth? And then the second question is simply, what is Congress going to be ready to support, and what would you like to see the president ask Congress to support?
Well, thank you very much, Chuck. And I would like to say, you know, my heart and my prayers are still with the people of Paris and the American victim as well. I think that there was a reset on history last night, and I think this changes the equation completely. And I think what we're seeing and what we have seen in the 3 years I've been on the Armed Services Committee is this is exactly what happens when you have a vacuum of leadership worldwide. And I think that, you know, I certainly have been talking to my colleagues. We've had no official briefings, but I can tell you, Chuck, that I've been talking to my colleagues around the country to say, what are we prepared to do on Monday? And I can tell you that I think that one of the things that has to happen on behalf of the American people is we are again requesting from the President of the United States a comprehensive strategic plan on what in the world are we going to do. That's a NATO ally. And I think that, you know, one of the requests I'm going to have is absolutely trying to hold the president back from allowing 10,000 unvetted Syrians into this country. And what I'm hearing from around the country to my Facebook and Twitter and those kind of accounts is the American people saying, please don't put us at any further risk. Please come out with a plan.
There's definitely, I'm hearing that. I've gotten plenty of emails myself on people wanting that specific question asked of any administration official that we may have on the show either tonight or tomorrow. Let me ask you this, though.
I think it's fair.
You know, going back to what needs to be done in Syria. There has been, I mean, both parties have been divided within themselves about what to do. Do you think this becomes a unifying moment that, look, all the political rhetoric aside, this is France's 9/11 or pretty close to it, and it's time to say, let's figure out what we do going forward?
Well, I think many Americans have been there, Chuck. I have, and a lot of folks on HASC has as well, in the Armed Services Committee. It's a bipartisan committee, and we're not talking political issues here. This is an American issue. We want safety, and we want to make sure our shores are safe. We want a president that we can believe in, that will lead for the national security of our country. And I think it's really important when Americans are saying, hey, don't bring these people up here. I think we need to take one step back and say, let's start with a comprehensive strategic plan we should have started with to begin with. And let's not get into the blame game right now. Let's look at this for what it is. Americans are vulnerable. This is not a JV organization. This was an organized army that declared war on a NATO ally. They didn't come with ships, and they didn't come with airplanes and tanks. They came from within. They brought weapons. More than anything else, Chuck, they brought a sophisticated strategic plan that worked. And that is where we should start right now with the President of the United States that says, what do we do to go forward? Because I can tell you, sitting on HASC the last couple of months, you know, we're not leading. There is no plan. And it's that vacuum, Chuck, that I'm talking about. And we even heard the French president refer to the vacuum. And that's very real. And that's where the United States stands up with all our strength and all our might. And we protect our allies and we keep our word.
Do you think we're at war?
I think we've been at war. And you know what? This is not a new war last night. This is the same old war we've been fighting. The toll is rising, and the accountability is zero on the other side. And I think that's where the American people are. And I think that's what you and I are hearing the same thing, that the American people want resolve. And more than anything else, the American people want this destroyed, and they want us to win, as do I.
Do you think you're going to have a difficult time convincing your constituents if you say, okay, the president's going to ask for X number of troops, if that's what it takes? Do you think if it's a plan that you feel comfortable with, you can tell your constituents, I know you're war weary, but this is what has to be done?
Well, I think the president owes that to America. We've had a very reactive and inactive commander-in-chief, and I can tell you in my state, the state of Indiana, Hoosiers are over the top. We're often the first to go to fight for liberty and freedom. And I think if the president could make a decision and make a plan and tell the American people want us to lead. I think the American people are with the president's decision if there's a comprehensive plan, and we're paying the price for no comprehensive plan, and we paid it again last night, Chuck.
All right, Jackie Walorski, Congresswoman from South Bend, Indiana, and on the Armed Services Committee. Thanks for joining me this evening. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Quickly